I think that music should go on longer. I think I need to make it longer. We can just have an even longer bob. Janine, it's the Women Wise podcast. How are you doing?
I am so well, Sara. Yeah, I just love our tune. Really, really love our tune. How are you doing?
I'm good. People can probably see that it's actually daylight. I don't know if you can see it's daylight. So yeah, I'm in a different time zone from you broadcast. But it's great, isn't it? The power of technology, the ability to broadcast from anywhere and not miss a beat.
Love it.
I don't know. We had a little bit of a technical hitch. A very weird one. Yeah, why don't we get to it? So our guest today is Julie Lewis, and she's quite an incredible woman. I mean, I don't know how an hour is going to be long enough to speak to this woman and extract as much wisdom from her as possible. She is passionate about helping organizations be the best resilient and vibrant, healthy versions of themselves so they can succeed in business and in life. She has led multinational teams on over 70 successful global expeditions, including 10 to the Arctic, 3 to Antarctica. She loves to share her experience-based wisdom and insight with her teams looking for a leading edge. I like that little play on words there. She's the author of Uncharted Waters. She's a very much sought after, award-winning leader. She loves being in nature and exploring. And we have managed to lasso her and bring her onto the One Wise podcast. So, Julie, you are welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, live and wired and fired up for a great session. And yeah, I love the intro music. I was having a little bit of a jig here. Yeah,
exactly. It just puts you in that groove.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome to have you with us. Now, your journey is absolutely incredibly inspiring. And I mean, from leading over 70 global exhibitions to writing 2 powerful books, can you tell us where this all started, sharing your little bit of a history of where this all started?
Oh my gosh, how long have we got? Is it
the shorter version?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I think that, the adventure side in me really, I'm a bit of a late starter on that one. My background's in sports science, so I spent 18 years in the health, fitness and sports management industry. And then there's something about being 40, isn't there? And for my 40th birthday, I decided to go and climb a mountain in Malaysia, Kota Kinabalu. And I managed to cajole 5 of my friends to come up to the summit with me. And standing on the summit, Janine, I just had my arms outstretched thinking, I'm on a mountain. I'm on a natural high. I feel so alive, so connected, so amazing. I thought, oh, Mountain High. I think I'll start a company called Mountain High and encourage more, in particular women, because I think there's a stereotype of explorers with big bearded men that go off and do things, and women don't do that. And that's a load of rubbish. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. So I came down that mountain, euphoric. And the Gulf News here in Dubai wrote an article about this woman from Yorkshire that decided to go and climb a mountain for her 40th birthday. And then people kept calling me saying, I want to go and climb a mountain. I'm going to be 40. I'm going to be 50. I'm going to be 60. So the following year, I took 18 women to Everest Base Camp in Nepal, singing The Only Way Is Up all the way to Everest Base Camp. 18 women, 18 days, up to 18,000 feet, basically where the Everest expeditions begin. That's where we ended. And we raised about $80,000 for a mobile breast screening unit through Al Tawam Hospital. And I came back and I just thought, I was born to do this. Forget the gym and the squash and the tennis courts and the aerobic studios. There's the mountains, the ocean, the desert, everything's out there. So I took a huge leap of faith and started Mountain High in 2003 and literally just said, very selfishly, I'm going here. Who wants to come? and really started leading expeditions from kind of 2004 onwards. And at the time, I can say this, I was the first and only female in the UAE, probably the Middle East, to start an expedition company. And so it got a lot of media attention because who is this woman? Sure. What is she doing? Where is she going? Why is she doing it? And I think there was just, the right timing that people want a challenge. They want to change something. They want to experience something new, connect with new cultures. And if they feel that they're also MAD, making a difference, because most of the projects were linked with a health awareness campaign or visiting a school or a community to make an impact, then really it's a superpower. And I think because of that first kind of feeling of so much joy and aliveness and strength, and that I just continued, and 70 expeditions later, and as you say, to the top of the earth, the bottom of the earth, and everywhere else in between, you become naturally resilient, because people say, tell me about resilience. And I think the key thing is the more experiences you have, whether they're great, not so great, heartbreaking, or euphoric, then you naturally build your resilience. So that's really how I got into it, by leading by example, going and climbing a mountain and saying, hey, come with me. And then having all these people saying, anything's possible. I used to never thought I could do this. Now I can. So if I can do that, what else can I do? So it was like a rolling boulder. And there's the dog, a rolling boulder gathering momentum that led to the first book, Moving Mountains, in 2016, which was a collection of stories from people that had climbed mountains with me or climbed a metaphorical mountain. And that's kind of the part of the story. The latest book, Uncharted Waters, is, the exact opposite. Instead of going up, it was like, oh, let's go down. And I think, I was 55. 15 years later, I went back to the same mountain and I said, what do you want me to know? Because I was at a bit of a crossroads. Where do I go with things now? It was pouring it down with rain. So I thought the message is about water. So then in my ultimate wisdom, I decided to go and swim the English Channel, as one does. I didn't make it, but I learned a lot about water and a lot about myself. So that was how book number 2, Uncharted Waters, Discover Your Hidden Depths, really came about. So all of these experiences and kind of building this tribe of people around me, and then writing books and telling stories and speaking and then running classes to say, what I learned in the mountains and the forest and the oceans and the Arctic and Antarctica, you can bring it into the boardroom, into the community, into, your small business, your entrepreneurial thing. So it's about having the courage to just go for it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing.
Incredible. So I'm very curious then. So what do you think, if you could give sort of one big takeaway, this thing of sort of bringing the resilience you get from going on these expeditions into the board, can you give an example then of something that represents that?
For sure. I mean, for me, resilience is such a broad spectrum, isn't it? I think, the opposite of being resilient is being burnt out and frazzled and not able to do anything, so resilience, sometimes people say it's the ability to bounce back, back from setbacks. I say it's the ability to bounce forward higher and stronger, to be optimistic, to stay calm, to have an open and flexible mind, because there's many routes up a mountain. So, if you go one route, it doesn't work, try another route. So and managing stress and anxiety. So the sports science was a good base to start from, because it's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. How are you thinking, eating, moving, sleeping, hydrating, so that you can perform at your peak? And then putting that, performance to the test in environments that change quite quickly. And the business environment changed quite quickly. So there's calm weather, stormy weather, new technology, new teams, new management, new everything. So you have to be able to respond to that rather than react, So I think it's important for teams to know, businesses to know, that change is constant. We're all in the business of change. As a coach, as a speaker, as a leader, as a business owner, we'd like to change the way people think, act, and feel. So this ability to respond to the environment that you're in and focus on solutions, which instead of saying it's cold and rainy, the market has changed, it's okay, that's the situation. What's the solution? So come up with 5 solutions. And, on the mountain, when the weather changes, we have to make a decision. Do we build a snow hole and wait, or do we go back down, or do we keep pushing forward? And we have to focus on, the best decision at the time. So I think making decisions during challenging times is a huge thing, And if you look at the word resilience, there's the word silence in it. So for me, I think, the ability to be still, silent, and in solitude, to go away and to think about the big picture as a leader, and then come back with ideas and a vision, and then sharing that. Because resilience, people say it's about just keep going, and stand on your own ground, do it everything yourself. And it's like, no, it's about taking quality recovery time. I talk about QRT all the time, quality recovery time, and then asking for help, which is a sign of strength, not of weakness. And I think, the Brené Brown advocates, daring greatly, is that, hey, I need some help. So as a leader, you can say, hey, look, we've got this situation. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? So it's quite Socratic in the leadership style. And then knowing you may have to make the decision yourself, but at least you've got everybody's buy-in, they felt part of the solution. So for me, resilience, people say, oh, it's a soft skill. I think it's a super strong skill, and we can't do without it.
Soft skill. They need to get their heads looked at, because it's definitely not a soft skill. I also see resilience as inside out, looking at yourself, and whatever you see and find is what you present to others as well. Now, you talked about, you mentioned a few practical things one can do. So I want to ask if you can give some examples of exercises or possibly activities you use to actually help people build resilience and manage stress. I mean, with everything that you've done, I'm sure you can write a book about that specifically.
Exactly. I'm big on rituals and routines and habit stacking. You must have read Atomic Habits, about stacking your habits. So, I think the way that you start the day and the way that you end the day are, bookending is really, really important. So, for example, my morning rituals, I wake up at 5:30 every morning, go to the bathroom, who doesn't? I meditate for 20 minutes. I stretch for 20 minutes. I make myself a nice hot water with lemon. Then I either go for a walk, I go for a swim, or I go to the gym, come back, take a cold shower, do some planning. I've usually done it the night before, so I've got, a process. And then I don't eat till 10 because I'm doing this intermittent fasting. But I think, the first 1 hour minimum, ideally 2 hours of the morning, it's really about you. It's about priming yourself for success, not waking up, checking the phone and go, oh, so-and-so needs me. That's not the best way to start your day. If you do that every day, you're compounding the stress, basically. So I say, most people know, don't call me between, 5:30 and 9, because you won't get really an answer, because I'm in my zone doing my thing. And then, doing your day, leading your day. And then in the evening, have a reflective practice. What went well today? What could be different? Who did I help? Who helped me? What would make tomorrow better? So it's very much how you're thinking, eating, moving, sleeping, hydrating, and taking time to sit back and reflect. Reflection is a superpower, because it makes your tomorrow better. What worked, what went well. Who did I bring joy today? What deal did I make today? How did I make a difference today? So it's just kind of checking in. So giving to yourself, receiving, and then giving out across the day. And then just saying, what's good about today? What went well, and how can I make tomorrow even better? So they're just tiny rituals. I think moving your body is important. We spend a lot of time sat down looking at screens, directed attention. So I would say take, breaks outside, go hug a tree, go walk barefoot on the grass and ground yourself. go to the gym, go and have a conversation. Don't send emails, just go and find the person, go and have a chat with them instead. You know, and say yes to experiences. You know, put your hand up. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll give that a go. Because that automatically builds your resilience. You know, and hanging out with people that are very different from you. I make an effort. Really, it's not every day, because, you know, if I did, that would take quite a bit of time. But I like to say, but in 1 week that I've met somebody that's really quirky, geeky, knows something that I don't. It's completely different from me. And what can I learn? And what can they learn from me? Because when I say, oh, you know, what's your passion? What do you do? What project are you working on? It's so exciting. You know, and then when they ask me, oh, where have you been recently? And they go, tell me about that. So you build on this, and it's a big boost. So there's small different things that you can do. Stay hydrated, connect with your friends, learn something new, read a book, go for a walk, swim in the ocean, lift some weights, smile, hang out with people that make you laugh, have a good cry when you need to. And have this ecosystem of support around you, you know. And I think that's really being a wise woman and a wise man, you know, to actually know that however tough you are, however much knowledge you've got, however many years of experience, we all need somebody. We need sounding boards, you know. I mean, look at the two of you. Boom, you came together and you're just bouncing off each other. It's beautiful to see. And then bringing in other people to kind of multiply the energy. So thank you and well done. Yeah.
Oh, well, we have a great time on this show, and you know, we meet incredible women like yourself, and it's just mind blowing actually to hear people's stories, and just, I suppose, again, it's that broadening your mind, it's opening your mind, it's saying, wow, what is actually. You hear stories like yours, you realize that, you know, there isn't anything that's impossible at the end of the day. And you can't blame your age, and you can't blame, you know, that you're a woman, and you can't blame, you know, where you are in the world or anything else. So if you want to do it, there's always going to be a way. Can you tell us some of the stories around some of the women in particular who have gone on your expeditions? Anyone who sort of stands out for you as a real success story in terms of what they overcame?
Gosh, you know, after 70 expeditions with an average of 12 to 16 people on each expedition, I mean, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and you know, I think the key thing is you know, that courage and the confidence. First of all, to say yes, sign up for something, and then commit to a training, because you know, you want to lower the risk. So I say, if you sign up for this, then the accountability is, you know, you need to work out during the week, do X, Y, Z. You know, from my sports background, I can help people. But then at the weekends, if you're in the UAE or wherever, you can, you know, we'll go for a training hike, we'll do this. So a lot of accountability, the ability to say yes, a positive sense of, you know, sense of humor. And I've had people that said, well, I can't swim. It's okay, you can learn to swim. And so I've taught people how to swim, and then they've come on challenges. It's amazing. I've never done whitewater rafting. Just hang on and just listen to the guide.
Just hang on.
Just hang on. I've never left my kids. You know, don't worry. Your dad, you know, your friends will pool, and your husband will deal with it. Don't worry. You know, I had one lady that came on the Everest Base Camp trip, and she's a mother of 4, and never ever left her kids. And her husband was so, you know, he said, I'm going to get you a satellite phone so that you can check in and everything. And what was beautiful about that trip, that she did check in, but, you know, when you go on trips like that and you're walking and you forget about what's going on, you know, you just, no cars, no washing machines breaking down, no kitchen and nothing. You're just in the mountains and really thinking about what's important, what's not important. And then really reconnecting to yourself, because you're not somebody's mom and you're not somebody's wife. You're, let's just say the name Jane, for example. So you're Jane, and you've got this network of people around you, and you're walking, and then you come back and the kids say, oh my gosh, we miss you. We didn't realize how much you do for us. Mum, we're so proud of you. Come to school. We want everybody to know that my mum's been to Everest Base Camp, kind of thing. And the husband said, oh my God, I didn't realize how much you do. I didn't know the kids didn't like cucumber sandwiches. They were throwing up, and I didn't know. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. So it really, you know, to actually leave the comfort zone, leave what's normal, and give, you know, your kids the sense of oh, mum's not here, so we have to fend for ourselves a bit more. We have to help each out a bit more. And dad's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah, well, your mum normally does that. So everybody grows from it, from that experience. The woman that said, I can't swim. I mean, this was pretty extreme, but we went shark cage diving in Gansby. And you're lowered down in a cage, and you don't have to swim, but you literally go down, and then you put your snorkel in and you go you go down and hold your breath, and then you come back up again. So you don't have to swim. But the fact that she'd learned how to swim, but then taking it to a whole new extreme of, I didn't know how to swim. Now I know how to swim. Now I'm in the cage and there's sharks coming around me. And
it sounds like an exponential curve with you. That this is, you strap a rocket to them and fire them into the stratosphere by the sounds of it. It sounds amazing. I'm sitting.
I think it's a transformation. It's definitely the journey of who you become as a result of going on the expedition. Getting to the top of the mountain, completing a river rafting thing is one thing, but it's who you become as a result of doing that, because it's not the same person. Whenever we come back from a trip, or even when people have come back from a retreat, or hopefully when people have heard me speak, they're not the same anymore, because all of a sudden they think, I can do anything, I'm possible. I do have the courage to say yes. I do have the confidence. I have so much more clarity now about what's important, what's not important. I feel better. I feel stronger. So it's the mental and the physical. And the emotions, definitely. It's definitely an emotional overload. Laughing, crying, and
I think there's two kind of people in the world. They either run from Julie Lewis, or they go to Julie Lewis.
Yes, run from or run to. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it's a kind of crawl, walk, run, because the expeditions, even the retreats, people know. I say, you know what you're signing up for. This is easy, this is moderate, this is challenging. I mean, I took a team of 12 women to Antarctica back in 2012. They were all breast cancer survivors. And when I came up with the concept for the expedition, people kept saying, you're never going to find 12 women that have already gone through this major health challenge to go to the ends of the world, to cross Drake's Passage, which is one of the most treacherous seas in the whole world. And I said, I think you're wrong. I think people who have gone through life-altering, life-threatening experience want to be fully alive, and they want to say yes to things that maybe they wouldn't say yes to before. So we created a documentary, a book, and we had 12 women of all different ages and nationalities that said yes, and came back with so much more wisdom, strength, great role models for other people, that it's not a death sentence. It's you don't have to be 20, 30, 40. I mean, I'm 62 years young, and I think the minute you say, oh, I'm too old to do that, you got to go and do it. Stop it. Don't say your age as an excuse. When people say, aren't you a bit old for that? No, I'm not my age. I'm my energy, and I think by doing these things, they add years to your life and life to your years. Yeah.
Wow. I am amazed. I'm like, oh my word. So absolutely awesome. So we talked about your books, Moving Mountains and Uncharted Waters. Obviously, people are going to fall in love with this podcast, with your energy. What can the readers actually expect? Not just reading the book, but learning from the book.
Yeah, the most recent one, Uncharted Waters, they're both personal development books with lots of stories, inspirational quotes, and prompts, because I want it to be interactive. So Uncharted Waters is like the big sister to Moving Mountains, because I've evolved quite a lot since 2016. So Uncharted Waters is really a metaphorical journey through different bodies of water to say, what could you learn from a lake or a river or a waterfall or a puddle even, or an iceberg? And so it has prompts, questions, so you dive deeper and learn more about water, because we are 70% water. The planet is 70% water. Every time you look at water, you're looking at yourself, basically. So it's a real good self-awareness tool to look at nature, because we look for answers. We all do, whether we think we need a guide, a mentor, a coach, a conference, a book, a seminar, or something. And we know that the answers are within, and it's just people that tease it out, or something that you see or hear or experience, whether it is a book or a workshop or a guide or a mentor, or just being out in nature and just seeing the cycle of life, seeing the strength of a mountain, seeing the flow of a river, just heading out to the ocean with no fear. So really, I think, people that are readers are leaders, because they're saying, I'm open. I might be skeptical, but I'm open, and I will see what jumps out of me. And a lot of people have said it's resonated in so many ways, because I'm sharing probably more than I've ever shared in a book, in terms of things that I've experienced and how water has been my saving grace. When I lost my father, I used to spend a lot of time at the sea, at the beach. So I just found that every time I was walking or swimming in the sea, I felt his presence, and it was like a solace for me, And I think, we go to places and spaces where we feel calm, supported, and protected. And so, swimming was great therapy for me. And sometimes it's just take a cold shower, sit in a nice bath, run yourself a nice hot bath. So it's just, how can being more like water serve you in your business and your life? Because water is the only element that can exist in a liquid, a solid, and a gas. It adapts. When it's cold, it freezes. When it's hot, it melts. It always finds a way. So it's like a woman. A woman will always find a way, to adapt to the environment that you're in. So it's really an invitation to explore what we can learn from water about resilience, finding flow, navigating storms, to make you think, really. And so I see it as a book that you keep dipping in and out of. And I've created a manual now. So I will run workshops in the fall and the winter that will be in, on, around, and underwater, because some people are afraid of water. And I think that's, oh no, I need to help you with that, because to be able to swim or to feel comfortable in water is so important, as a human being, but then, for your children, and to just know that the water is there for you. Yeah. I know it can be scary sometimes, though, when big waves come.
And you were saying, and you were saying that you went to swim the Channel, and that just sounded like quite a crazy thing to actually do. So, what were the challenge? I mean, I know you didn't say you succeeded in terms of actually crossing the Channel, but what did you from that? What were the main?
Oh my gosh! It was meant to be a team swim, and then as we got 3 months closer to the swim date, 4 people dropped out, because I think they realized that that you're gonna have to be in Dover for probably 2 weeks, maybe 3, waiting for this slot, for the weather and everything. That you can't wear this nice, beautiful wetsuits that you get these days, and all the flash technology stuff. That it's just a swimsuit, your hat, and your goggles, and a few flashing lights when you're swimming in the dark. So I kind of had to make a call whether to go solo or just to drop it. And I'd already paid, I think, £2,000 deposit for a boat. So I did a bit of a Richard Branson, screw it, let's do it kind of thing. And I spoke to the Channel Swimming Association and said, look, I'm solo now. What changes? So instead of a 2-hour qualifying swim as a relay team, I had to do a 6-hour swim in cold water. And I thought, okay, if I can do that, then at least I've qualified. So I did that in Dover. I came out shaking like a leaf, like that, thinking I've done it. But that was 6 hours, and I know it's going to take me about 16 hours to swim across the Channel. So, oh my gosh, another 10 hours. So of course you hire a coach. You eat like a champion, you sleep like a champion, you just eat, swim, repeat. And, the average age of a Channel swimmer is 36. I was 56 at the time. And I kept saying to everybody, the water doesn't know I'm 56. The water just thinks it's another mad swimmer in the water heading for France. The other kind of fact is that 2 out of 3 people don't make it. More people have climbed Mount Everest. So even though I was very upset, after swimming in the dark for 4 hours on a spring tide instead of the book that I booked a neap tide, which means on a spring tide, the water level is faster and higher. So even though I've got pretty big shoulders and pretty strong, the water was taking me towards the ferry gates where all the big P&O cruises come out, and you don't want to be in the dark. So basically, after 4 hours, the boat pilot pulled me out of the water, and I cried. And then I thought, well, it's better to be disappointed than, in the line of a P&O ferry. And, at the end of the day, most people would never even think about doing this. And so the next day, I went back and I slept. And then the next day I went back into the sea. I remember doing a little post saying, it's not over. I'm still in Dover and I'm going to go back into the water because it's not going to scare me. And I had a big, long swim, another good long cry. And I thought, okay, what did I learn about this? I learned that water is much stronger than me. When the tide and the currents and everything. I also learned that, I prefer to swim in a nice crystal clear lake with no bits and things and all that kind of stuff. So I decided I'm a fair weather swimmer, not a channel swimmer. And I just learned about going with the flow. Like when you felt that you're in a current and as hard as you were swimming, you weren't going anywhere. And I experienced that several times, and it was a bit like, and then you think, calm down, kind of be like water. And I kept saying to myself, be like water, and then cutting across so that you get out of that, churningness and everything. So I think I learned a lot about overcoming fears, about how to become more like water, how to not bite off more than you can chew. How the importance of a team is really, really important because my swim was delayed from the 22nd of August to the 29th. Then my support swimmer and another person just couldn't be on the boat. So it was pretty challenging because my boat pilot said, go take a break because the weather's shocking. So I took a train from Dover to St. Pancras and Pancras to Sheffield. And I just had, I thought I'd go and see my mum and dad because, nothing's happening here. That night, my dad had a fall, missed the Welsh dresser at home by about that much. So I'm calling the ambulance, and then my mum was upset and everything. And I thought, oh gosh, I'll get a good night's sleep and everybody's going to be okay. And the next morning, the pilot called me, said, come down. I want you at the port by midnight. And I should have said no. I need a rest. I've not had much sleep. It's a bit stressy, but I thought I've got to go and do it. So on reflection, I think the importance of when to say no and say, is it possible that I come the day after because I've not had much sleep and I've got a long train journey now? No excuses. So yeah, I think, the conditions around it are super important. And that's the same in business and life, isn't it? Who's in your corner? Who's rooting for you? Who's your cheerleader? Who's got your back when you have your moment? And
also, are you swimming against the tide? Are you trying to do something that actually? I always think that there are times when to go for it and push through. If there are barriers, but there are times when, as you said, maybe actually this wasn't exactly the right. The timing maybe wasn't on your side.
Exactly. And, the following year, funnily enough, I got invited to swim with a relay team. And I said, you know what, that's a really good idea because then I only have to swim 1 hour, I get out, and then another person swims 1 hour and gets out, and there's 6 people. So I'm only going to be swimming, on that rotation. And it was 3 men, 3 women. I thought, we're going to nail it. It was the full moon. It was beautiful, perfect conditions. And the first guy that went in at midnight, as I started at midnight, imagine you can't see very much. It's really cold. The water's not very clean at all. There's a smell of diesel from the boat, and you're swimming about a meter away from the boat. After 42 minutes, all we heard was, I've got to get out, I've got to get out. And we thought, is he having cramp? Is he having heart problems? Has he been bitten by something? And so the minute he touched the boat and we brought him out, then it's game over. So none of the other 5 swimmers, myself included, could swim. So sometimes it's not always about, if you want to go alone, then it's totally up to you. If you go with a team, then you depend on the people before you completing their 60 minutes, because if they don't, you don't get to swim and it's game over. So after that, I thought, do I really want to swim the English Channel? Does the English Channel really want me to swim in it? And I figured I'm going to take a gap year, which was 2020. And I'm so glad I did, because that was our, let's say, the lockdown years, and nobody was swimming the Channel. So I thought, at least I've not spent another £2,000 doing something that I'm maybe not even meant to be doing. So no, I think I'll swim across a lake in Montenegro that's crystal clear and beautiful and not got any shipping lines coming across me. Yeah, but it's all down to experience, isn't it? So as I've said, I've experienced, the highs of reaching the summit of, the mountains up to 7,000 meters for a builder's daughter from Yorkshire that was told that she might not amount to anything. It says, well, I think that's pretty good. To attempting these things, from dog sledding in the Arctic to taking teams of people that thought they couldn't do something and then realizing that they can, so for me, that's the biggest reward. From can't to can, from fear to absolute joy, from, no way to, oh my gosh, I just did this, and seeing all these opportunities as, as growth. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I ain't stopping anytime soon.
Well, it's like that one quote that's one of your favorites: everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end. I absolutely adore that quote.
So do I. It's the eternal optimist, isn't it? I mean, people say, oh, you're so optimistic, Julie, you've got rose-colored spectacles. I said, but I'm a pragmatic optimist. I know things aren't great right now, but this too shall pass. It's not great all the time. It's not bad all the time. Nothing lasts forever. It changes very quickly, even the way our emotions are. You're not happy all of the time. You're not sad all of the time. They're fleeting. And then we recognize that. I feel sad. What do I need to do to make me feel happy? I feel this. What do I need to do? So it's that emotional regulation, and just knowing that, knowing yourself, and that everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. Came from the Best Exotic Marigold movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Everybody needs to watch that movie, because what can go wrong is going wrong and everything, but it's all right. Everything will be all right. And so that's, the vision really of a leader, isn't it? To, when you start a business, when you start a new career, when you start a family, when you start a new job, when you start a relationship, you're optimistic. You think this is going to be great. You don't start thinking, oh no, this is going to be terrible. Why did I do this? If you do, then you've already shot yourself in the foot, really, isn't it? So I'm happy when people say you're the eternal optimist, because I know that, I'm a pragmatic optimist. And I've had times where it's like, oh my God, I've been widowed, I've been held at gunpoint, I've been blown off a mountain, I've been pulled out of the Channel, I've been turned down for jobs, I've nursed my husband through stage 4 cancer, 6 months to live to complete recovery. So I'm like, well, all the time, no. But I've learned so much from all of those experiences. And I think that's what makes a woman wise.
Oh, look what you did there. Love that. Talk about bulletproof confidence.
That clip is going to be cut out. That's going to be like in our in our intro, I think.
Yes, yeah. I think, at this stage, I'm not going to say age, I'm going to say at this stage of my life, you become wise. I've been the kind of the explorer. At 40, I would say, and that's something about being 40. You exploring the world, exploring your life, exploring. And then in my 50s, I was definitely the warrior, because I had so much coming at me, different experiences, some good, some great, some heartbreaking. And you become this warrior. You earn your stripes. And I think now in my 60s, I'm the sage. It's like I can sit back and think, how would I like to respond to that? what's good about this? What am I learning from this? And what can, I've got nieces and nephews. I don't have children, but I mother in different ways. But, I love kind of chatting to young people, because when you hear what they're struggling with, and then if you can gift them what, oh, yeah, I remember being that age, or I remember, yes, that experience. And this is how I felt at the time. But on reflection, you could do X, Y, Z instead. Just do what feels right. It is okay to cry. It is okay to laugh. It's go for a long walk and don't come back till you feel, you've sorted it. So I think, guiding people, which you do through what both of you do, whether it's sales, mentoring, executive leadership, guiding people, and just shining a light and saying, oh, let's go this way, and let's see, how that feels and resonates. So I think it's important to be a mentor and a guide and share our stories, which is why I think I like writing books, because it's a bit of legacy, isn't it? And you can do podcasts and you can do YouTube and all of these, which I think is super important. So I think what you are doing and what you've created is really, really important, because it gives people access to wisdom that they might not have access to.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes we stay in our little circle, and sometimes friends and family are not the right people to give a guidance and advice. You need somebody that's kind of very emotionally neutral, which is like you two. I mean, I would come to you, you would come to me, vice versa, because I'm not. Well, I am your friend, but I'm not. We're not emotionally engaged and thinking, oh, it's just important, I think, to find people in your ecosystem, and they're not necessarily your friends and your family.
I like that. So your wisdom. I think that's a really, I love that. I've never heard that expression for humans. I think that's in terms of our own human relationships. So, a few questions. One is, what would you, if you're 18-year-old, what would...
I lost the question a little
Sorry,
bit.
you have to ask that again. Sorry.
My internet's very shady because I'm in the middle of a field in Ireland.
Beautiful.
If you met your 18-year-old self now, what advice would you give her?
My 18-year-old self. Wow, fresh after A-levels. I didn't take a gap year, so I would say take a gap year. I went straight to university. And I think on reflection, I would say, go and travel, get some more experience, because I was in a private boarding school from being 11 to 18. So I slept there. I was a boarder. So kind of quite cocooned. I mean, it's a beautiful time and lots of sports and lots of things. But I would just say, just go and take a break. Don't go straight into university. Go and go and travel, do an internship, go and do things, and then come back and decide, do I still want to go to university? Do I want to start? I mean, now there's so many more opportunities. When I was 18, it's kind of like, go to university, get your job, get married, have 2.5 children, and I kind of broke that rule. I'm one of 4, and I'm not the black sheep in the term that the naughty one, but the one that just said, I don't want to stay in Yorkshire and be with part of the family business. I love, I'd always used to help out in the yard. It's a building and contracting company. I'd help out in my holidays and everything. But my 2 sisters and my brother are very much involved with the business. Now my 2 sisters have retired from it. My brother runs it. But I just thought, do I really want to do that? So I think as at any stage of your life, it's like, who am I? What am I doing? Do I really love this? Is it bringing me joy? Am I mad, making a difference? That's a big one for me. So I think
I like that.
Really knowing your values, what's important. And, I know my values are crystal clear, and I make every single decision based on my values. I'm also very clear on what I call my emotional priorities. Does it bring me joy? Does it bring me growth? Does it bring me peace? Does it bring me freedom? Does it bring love, and love is lots of valuable experiences. Mad love, even better. Making a difference, lots of valuable experience, even better. So I think, you know, at 18, you're not a child anymore, but you're not an adult. It's a really challenging time, isn't it? And you've got so many people go to university, go this, do this, you should. And it's like, oh, stop shoulding all over me. And I heard, oh, you should go straight to university. What did I do? Go straight to university. And so I took a gap year when I was 36.
Love that.
Why not?
Absolutely.
And what about working then now with young people who obviously, you know, they are on the cusp of that adulthood, and they are on the cusp of kind of, you know, making life-altering decisions at the end of the day. Do you work with young people to help them to maybe start off on a much better, more solid footing?
I think I do in a roundabout way. I mean, definitely through my niece and through her circle of friends. And I think, you know, I've had retreats and expeditions where mother and daughter have come along, and that's been really interesting, seeing the dynamics. And it's actually, this conversation is sparking off something, because I think it would be super cool to do something with from kind of 18 to, I don't know, 20, 25, 26, something like that. Because I think they're really important years. I mean, like the imprint of 0 to 7 is very, very important, you know, the stimulus response, and that you're picking up so much. And I think that those years can be extremely confusing, you know, from 18 to 25. When I was 18, we had no such thing as social media and iPhones and things like that. If you wanted somebody, you go and knock on their door, or you know, or make a phone call, dial.
Yeah, if you block someone, you cut them out with scissors from a photo.
Exactly. And you wouldn't kind of be spending hours looking at this, which I see a lot of young people do, and everybody, comparing yourself. You know, I think that's a big thing on social media, that it's a great tool because it helps people stay connected. But then when it comes to comparing yourself, oh, they're doing this, I should look like this, I should wear that, I should be doing this, I should. And I think it's important. It's the shoulds, isn't it? Yeah. So I think it would be lovely to encourage people in, you know, that time period to really get to know themselves and be comfortable in their own skin, and think it's okay to be different, not to be X, Y, Z. You know, you could be just the best version of you, whether that's, you know, pink hair, like my niece has. I say that because everybody's saying, well, why she got pink hair? I said, because she likes pink hair and it suits her, and she's a singer. So what do you want it to it's, you know, just be you, I'm saying, you know. And if you like singing, sing. If you like dancing, dance. If you like running, if you like writing, what do you love to do, as opposed to what should I do? Is choosing the joy and beating to your own drum, and just, yeah, being kind to yourself. Stop beating yourself up, because I see a lot of people, oh, you know, I'm not good enough, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too this, I'm too that. It's like, please don't do that. You know, don't do that to yourself. You know?
Yeah, self-sabotage is a big thing.
It is, you know, that internal dialogue, you know, whatever you say after I am, you know, I'm strong, I'm wise, I'm bold, or I'm sick and tired. You know, whatever you write, you're going to become. So I'm very big on that. So even though people see me as a very grounded person, and I am, you know, walking barefoot, swimming, climbing, all of those kind of things, that I'm very much also in this kind of more esoteric side, because I like to pull from different modalities, you know, NLP, emotional intelligence, Dr. Joe Dispenza, shamanic practices, psychology, positive psychology, Eastern philosophy, Taoism. I think, you know, we can pull so much from all of these and what resonates with you, and then share it, you know, in your own little quirky way.
Exactly. No one is you within you, right? From Dr. Zeus.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the best way to write a book? Start writing.
Yeah, start with, you know, that's the thing.
It's the fastest way to build my confidence. Do something that scares you. You know, I think, you know, sometimes you're so much in your own headspace that it just takes somebody so simple to say, when they say, what's the best way to do this? I'm often asked, what's the best way to build my courage and confidence? And it is to take action, to do the things that you can't do, or find somebody. Like I said, give me a hand, let's walk together, and then I'm going to let go of your hand, and then you're going to keep walking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. You've achieved so much, and you've obviously inspired so many people already. And I'm sure that you've inspired our listeners with all your adventures and insights. You've mentioned some workshops and stuff in the future. What is actually next for you? What projects are coming up? What can people expect from you?
Wow, yes, what's coming? The best is yet to come. So I think really having been grounded, let's say, to complete the book, because that's a huge task. It was like climbing a mountain again, really. So now I'm actually going to read my book, and from a reader's perspective instead of a writer's perspective, and then start to pull out. I've created a manual already, but pull out things to create a half day, full day, overnight, and 4-day, 3-night experiences. So things like resilience retreats, well-being. I'm doing a shamanic practitioner certification while I'm away, so I'll pull into that. I'm very much into the physical side of things as well. So it will be a combination of physical, spiritual, emotional, but it'll be things closer to home, because everybody says I can't travel, so it'll be things in and around the UAE, in, on, around, and underwater, more speaking, more classes or experiences that people can dip their toes in and say, oh, I want more. So, it might be a half day, it might be a full day. And then they say, okay, you're going away for 4 days, I'm coming with you. And it might be up in the mountains in Ras Al Khaimah or somewhere, for example. And then when I say, okay, we're going to the Arctic, who wants to come? Or we're going to walk the Camino, who wants to come? So it's a little bit like progressive adventure, because some people are not quite ready to, go for the cherry on the icing on the cake. They'll say, what's the first step, then the second step, and then becomes, a no-brainer that I want more, But, with corporates as well, I've done quite a lot of work with corporates on the well-being side of things, because people are realizing that when your people are coming from a place of strength and, they're thinking, eating, moving, sleeping, hydrating, and doing things that, fills their own well of well-being, then they perform so much better, the more creative, more productive. So increasing engagement scores by 30% was like, oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad that I was part of that, So more speaking, more of everything, more of Julie, and more of Julie in and around the UAE. So thank you. It's just, I think it's important to let people know that even in your 60s, it's like, I'm not retiring, I'm refiring, after the lockdown period and, being a primary caregiver, for 2 years, really, that was, keep this person alive. And so 4 years that, were not lost. I learned a lot from them. Of course we do. And people do have that, when if you've got elderly parents, then you need to take care of your parents. You feel more committed when you've got young kids. So there's different ages and stages of our life where our responsibilities are heavier on one side. And now, bless my parents, they're up in heaven dancing together. My husband is fine. I don't have kids. So, I just take care of others. And I'm taking care of somebody's dog at the minute. Hence the barking in the background. So I think it's just, you get to a point where you think, what's next? And the minute somebody says, you're too old to do that, I think, you just watch me. So, yeah, it's doing what you love, isn't it? I mean, you two started this on a whim of a conversation, and you didn't think, oh, no, there's already lots of podcasts, or, this is too late to do things like, you think, no, we're going to do it.
We said, yes, there's lots of podcasts out there, but there are no podcasts from Sara who are doing the interviewing. So we said, the world needs us. And we need to hear the stories of, and it started because of all the amazing women that we were meeting on the networking events.
Exactly, it's that supportive community.
Where else in the world would you meet so many women? It just seems that there's such a concentration in Dubai and the UAE of these incredibly powerful women who have achieved things that you might, 1 in 100, maybe. It seems to attract that sort of mindset.
It does.
So
why
not?
like that, yes.
And we need to share these stories with women in Dubai. It's actually internationally. I think people can have a misconception of what it's like to be in Dubai, living there as a woman.
I think, just as an expat, then it shows that you've got an adventurous spirit. If you've left your home country, left your immediate family, and you've come overseas and you've started a business, you started a practice, that in itself is a huge adventure for some people. So I think the more people realize that, people are doing this, people are moving, they're changing, they're building businesses, they're starting things that you would never dream of, and it's a great place for that. I've lived here for 26 years, and people say, why? I said, because it's in the middle, and I can go here, and anything's possible. And I meet people from all over the world just in one restaurant. I can hear 12 different languages, and it's incredible. Yeah.
It is indeed, and it all of this is just so in line with our vision as Women Wise Podcast, because we aspire to be the leading voice for women in Dubai and really fostering that supportive community that also celebrates diversity. Because oh my goodness, that is another topic that is so fascinating, and by sharing these stories and extraordinary women like yourself, we're really aiming to, and we spoke about it earlier about the younger generation. We want to inspire our future generations by actually redefining what it actually means to be a woman in Dubai and what success means. Success can mean so many different things for different people. And Julie, you have been an absolute gem for tonight. I can't believe we're almost close to the hour. It is crazy how time flies.
Again.
I think we need to have a Women Wise challenge, an annual challenge where you both have to come, of course.
I said that.
And we have.
I called it. I said we need to do actually a series of challenges.
Yeah.
And I said it'd be great throughout the year to go, right, we need someone who, even if they start off small, in the sense that maybe climbing, Kota Kinabalu or something like that. But even someone, for example, who's terrified of public speaking. I think it's one of the most common fears is and be vulnerable and to be authentic, and imagine taking someone on that kind of journey. But definitely everything you were saying, would you do this and would you do that in terms of your expeditions and your retreats, my hand was like practically go, yes, count me in. They just
amazing.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
But I'm up for that. I'm up for challenges, I think, and I think our listeners would be up for it too, to do something really impersonal.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Yeah, my internet, the cows are interfering with the internet, I've decided.
Someone or something needs to get the blame.
Exactly.
Julie, you have been an incredible guest. Your enthusiasm literally has lit up, I think, the internet. I'd say people's lights started to shine brighter just listening to you. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to connect on the digital highway. This is what I love about this. You could be anywhere in the world right now, and it's very geographically convenient. Yes.
And still make a positive impact.
Yes.
That's the most amazing part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So we're coming up to the top of the hour. Can't believe if
we're missing you, Sara. The cows are truly interfering here.
Just let Janine, you're going to have to do that bit because
just want to say thanks to our listeners and once again to Julie for being our guest, and go follow her on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Go see what she's all about. She's sharing a lot of stuff on her Instagram handle as well. So go follow her and see what she's doing. You've got a 100-day challenge of some sort, so I'm not going to say much about that, but go and have a look. And be inspired and remember to stay wise. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.